Hello and welcome to QuickBooks Online in summer. I am Professor Lackmeyer and I will be your professor this summer as you learn QuickBooks Online. So I just had a few things I wanted to go over. We are using some different software in this class, and so I wanted to make sure everyone kind of understood where to go and what to do to get started. So this is your Canvas homepage, which we have switched to Canvas now, campus-wide. So there is a welcome note that kind of lists a few things you need to do to get started, and I'm going to go over a couple of those with you. So on our Canvas page, you will find our syllabus on the left-hand side there. So it has my contact information, the book information, as well as, that you'll need to create and access to the Labyrinth eLab, which we'll talk about. That's where your work will be submitted and tests will be taken. And then as well, you'll also want to register for your free 1-year trial access to QuickBooks Online. So I've provided the link there. So I recommend doing that as soon as you get access to this class, because it could take 24 to 48 hours to get access to that. So that's probably step one after you've kind of read through everything, is to register following this link. And then you should get an email with steps on how to complete that registration. Once you've done the registration and have your QuickBooks Online account active, you've set your username and password and everything, you want to wait until you get to chapter 2 in your textbook, which will go over setting up the company. Okay, so those are the first things. Then there's the point breakdown and everything that you need to complete to be successful in this class. So let me go back here. So again, a few things just getting started. And again, there's that link to that free QuickBooks Online trial. So make sure you do that first. And the second step will be registering for the Labyrinth eLab. eLab is where, again, that you will submit files that you've created in QuickBooks reports that you've downloaded, and you'll also take your chapter tests on the Labyrinth eLab. So this link will get you in if you click on this page. There is a link here. You might have to copy and paste it if it's not showing up as a link for some reason, and then you have the course code to get in. You will need your registration or access code that was provided when you purchased the Labyrinth eLab access or the textbook that came with the eLab access. So for this class, you will need either the hardback copy, I think it's like a spiral bound textbook that comes with the eLab access, or you can buy the eLab access that comes with the ebook. Either way, you will need a copy of the text, either hard copy or digital, along with access to that eLab. Okay, so once you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page where you can put in your access code and set up your username and password and have access to our class work. I've also put under here, under getting started, the student user guide. There are some helpful tips and tricks on how to get started and register. I can't show you the exact steps on getting registered since I have an instructor account. So that will kind of walk you through it, as well as how to access the ebook. The ebook is now part of the eLab system, and that student user guide will show you how to access it, because it does depend on how you purchase the eLab, how you have access to the ebook. Okay? So once you have set up your access, you'll just see one class. I, of course, have several classes under here. You'll log into the eLab, and this is what it'll look like. Okay, we're in the QuickBooks Online Summer, of course. So if you were to click on the Content tab, the Content tab is going to list all the chapters, and if you click on one, you can pull up the PowerPoint, helpful videos, and even just the self-assessment quizzes. These quizzes are not graded, so that's just for your help. You will want to come over here to the left and click on the student exercise files. If you click that, you'll notice it opens the zip file down here in the bottom left for me. You want to open that up, download that to your computer and save it. You will need some of those files as you work through the chapters. Okay, so that'll be all the files that you'll need to work through the chapters. As you can see, you can get through to any of the chapters, the overview presentation, and then any supplemental videos. And again, those self-assessment quizzes that are not graded. Okay. From here, you can go ahead and click the Assignments tab. And this is where it's going to load up all the assignments that you will submit for a grade. Chapters vary as far as what is submitted, and I'm going to go over in a minute in the book what you'll be doing. But this is what will be graded. So it does have a quick grade feature, and so you will get automatic points and feedback to let you know how you're doing. Occasionally, the quick grader might grade you 100% incorrect if you put the wrong date on a report, or you have maybe 12 months of data and they just wanted 3 months. So you do have the option to resubmit. You can view the feedback file and see if you can figure out where you went wrong. If you're unsure and you didn't receive full credit, email me and I will take a look at it and I will let you know if you did everything correctly or if there's something you need to resubmit. Okay, but this is where you'll be coming in and submitting those homework assignments. Okay, so you'll just be able to click on them and submit them. Due dates are out here on the eLab. As you can see, I have chapters 1 through 5 all due July 2nd. That is just the final due date for those chapters to keep you on track. I recommend working a little more frequently than that and keeping up with it weekly. So I do have dates in Canvas to keep you on track a little bit more as far as finishing all the chapters that you're responsible for. Okay, so all the assignments that you're going to be submitting are listed here. Along the top, if I click the Tests tab, this is where you'll find your chapter tests. So Chapter 9 is optional and extra credit, but the other chapters are required, so 10 chapters are required. You'll come in here. These do have actual due dates, and those are also listed in Canvas, so make sure that you're remembering to come into the Tests tab and take these chapter tests by the due date. They are not timed. You can use your book. It's just a good review of the chapter and the chapter concepts that you need to know. Okay. And then the Grades tab will list your grades on all of the exams and quizzes and everything, the homework that you've done. Now, the points on your homework and your exams will be a little different in the eLab system based on how many points there were. So you will want to check grades in Canvas to get your most accurate grade. But this will tell you how you're doing percentage-wise especially. Okay. So that's once you've registered for the eLab, you'll have access to all of this. Okay. In addition, you will have access to the ebook, which I'm pulling up here. Whether you purchase the hardbound copy or just the access code, you will have access to this. So when you get started in here, your very first chapter is just an introduction. Okay. And so it's going to go over what you need to know to get started. And then it may have some end of chapter opportunities for you to look at stuff in the test drive. Okay, so what happens with QuickBooks is you're going to set up your QuickBooks Online free trial, and starting in chapter 2 of the text, you'll set up the company Pampered Pet Love or something like that. There's also a test drive site that you can go to for free at any time. You don't have to have a subscription, and that will start you here in chapter 1. You'll have access to that. They will tell you, here it is. You'll set up a service business. It's Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is in the test drive. So as you work through the chapter, you'll be using the test drive and you won't be creating any work that you're turning in. So it's really just practice. So anytime they're using the test drive system, you're not going to save things. Here it talks about that test drive. It's free of charge. There's the link to it. You can get to that anytime. It is for practice. So it's not going to save any of your work, and that's what you'll be working on just as you kind of practice the skills that you're learning each chapter. And then again, starting in chapter 2, it's talking about how you're going to set up Puppy Love Pampered Pooch as your company within your actual QuickBooks Online account. Okay, so chapter 2 will walk you through that. You're only allowed to set up that one company in that account. So make sure you do that correctly. Okay, so it kind of goes over anything you may need. Develop your skills are things you're going to practice in the test drive, as you can see here, and it tells you where to go to retrieve student files, and I also showed you, and you can get started here. When you get to chapter 2, again, once you open it up, it's actually going to have you go into your QuickBooks account and set up the company. Okay, so you will want to work through chapter 2, including all the develop your skills, and that will help you get everything installed and going. Okay, so you will work through chapter 2, and then at the back of chapter 2, at the end, you'll have some reinforce your skills. These, you will not submit any graded work like from reinforce your skills, but you do need to complete them. So reinforce your skills, you need to go in and complete these actions, delete the accounts, set up some new accounts and products and services, or you won't be able to complete the apply your skills that's graded. Okay. One thing to mention as we're going through chapter 2 here, it would be great if you would invite me as an accountant. So right here it's showing you how to invite accountant. You can add me with my email address that's listed on Canvas, tlackmeyer@rose.edu. And that's beneficial for you because if you get to a point where you can't figure something out or you made an error you can't fix, if you've invited me into your account, I can go in, find the error, help you fix it, or just point you in the right direction, whatever we need to do. Okay. Apply your skills come after the reinforce your skills. This is what's graded. Anytime you see that QG, that means it's a quick graded, and you'll be submitting whatever you've done here to the eLab system. So here it tells you what to do, a little less, step by step, and you're going to export as an Excel file. Tells you how to save it. You'll want to save it to your computer, and then that you'll submit to the eLab. And then you have 2-2 and 2-3. Sometimes there's check figures, so you can make sure that you're on the right track. As you work through the chapters, my biggest suggestion, and it tells you here, make sure that your check figures match at the end of the chapter before you start the next chapter. What will happen is if you get off in chapter 2 and you don't fix it, when you get into chapter 3, you may do everything correctly in chapter 3, but then something from chapter 2 will cause your numbers to be off. And so it just becomes a domino effect, and you could get bad grades on future chapters by not fixing something in the current chapter. So again, that's why I encourage you to add me as an accountant so I can find those errors if you make any. And then as long as you're submitting things to the Quick Grader and you're getting 100s, and then your check figures match, you should be good to go. So you won't have to wait on me to grade anything. You'll be able to progress on through at your own pace, and you can work ahead. Okay. Once you get into chapter 3, just want to show you a few things here. You'll still be working in that same company all the way through. Okay. So they're going to show you what to do. And then as you can see, when you work through the chapter, when you read through the actual chapter, the meat of the chapter, develop your skills is always going to work in this Craig's Design and Landscape Services from chapter 3 on. So these you do not have to do. They are not graded. They're for your own practice. So you'll use the test drive and you'll complete those just for your own practice. So then when you get again to the reinforce your skills, that's when you'll be in your company, the Puppy Love Pampered Pooch, and you'll want to do all of the reinforce and apply your skills for the chapter work. Okay, so I hope that answers some of your questions as far as getting started and how to navigate the eLab and your QuickBooks company. Okay. Again, you should see out on Canvas all of the due dates here. Again, those chapter exam due dates are accurate, and then I've just given you on Canvas some guidelines for when it would be best to complete the chapter work. Okay. Also, out here, there's a unit overview for chapters 1 through 6, everything, a list of everything you need to complete, as well as I have put out the solution guides for each chapter. And the reason for that is sometimes your check figures can match up and you might still have something incorrect. So again, when you've submitted to eLab, if you're not getting a 100, you can come and look through the solution guide, and it has the develop your skills, which again, you won't submit, reinforce, and apply. So you can actually go in and see what the correct report should look like and compare what you have. So that way, hopefully, you can kind of find your own errors and fix them if it's not taking too long. Again, don't spend hours trying to find an error and fix it. Just shoot me an email and I'd be glad to help you out. Okay. So again, you can kind of progress at your own pace. There are 10 chapters that are required. Some chapters, like chapter 6, is a very work-intensive chapter, so you want to plan time for that. Exams do need to be completed on a weekly basis, so make sure that you're logging into Canvas, looking at any announcements I may post that may help you with the chapter, as well as, making sure and keeping up with due dates. And then, of course, you'll be working in the QuickBooks Online account that you create, and then submitting and testing within the Labyrinth eLab. So again, just a few new things to learn this summer. We do have 8 weeks. So, again, I encourage you to work ahead if you can. Some of the chapters do go more quickly than others. So if you can get ahead, that will really help you if you ever meet a point where you take a little longer or you start to struggle. If you do fall behind at any time, please email me as soon as you do, and we can work on, adjusting due dates a little bit if necessary, and I can meet with you on campus and help you if necessary as well. I'm not on campus officially this summer, working from home, but I can either use Zoom, which is what I'm using right now to record this, and we can kind of have a live meeting via the computers, or I can actually meet you up on campus at a time that is convenient for both of us and help you out. So again, welcome to QuickBooks Online. I hope you enjoy learning QuickBooks. It's a great skill set to have. And this course does prepare you for the QuickBooks Certified User Exam. And I will post some more information about that probably the end of June, just so you have access to that if it's something. It's a national certification. So it's a great skill set to have. Email me if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoy the summer.